What is up, guys? Today we're gonna be talking about my favorite Paradox's grand strategy game, specifically ranking on their difficulties from the easiest to the hardest one, according to my opinion. Now, bear in mind that these titles are what normal grand strategy players would refer as streamlined version of the earlier Paradox's grand strategy games. So it's not necessarily what I would call as a complete list of all Paradox's grand strategy game. So, to get things started, I'm gonna mention Europa Universalis as the easiest grand strategy games that I have played. And we're just gonna click on that first. And the reason for this is that of all the entire grand strategy games from Paradox that I've played, Europa Universalis presents us with the least micromanagement level that is required for this certain games. You don't have to care, like, if you marry this type of person then you're gonna have this type of kid, something like that. The level of economy, the politics, and the military, especially the war in Europa Universalis, isn't that complicated, and I'm gonna show you a little. Like, you can choose whatever kingdom. I'm gonna start probably with. Alright, I'm gonna start with my hometown kingdom. Yeah, here they are. Alright, so here's the thing. This game isn't that difficult. Bear in mind though, a certain element that you need to take care is that, first of all, it's very, very important for you to control the trade knots that is near your island. So in this instance, I'm in Makassar, or Sulawesi. I'm sorry, it's Sulawesi. And my trade knots is the Molucca one. The Moluccas. And you gotta control this trade knots in order for you to generate more money, and therefore you become more wealthy. You become more richer, and you can create more armies from there and dominate your opponent. So in order to do that, what you want to do is that you're gonna have to create light ships, and this is something that a lot of EU4 player will tell you, to spam the goddamn light ships, because with this you can basically have a greater trade power, and by having a greater trade power you'll become more richer. Another thing is that you can forcefully take control of the trade costal, and you can view this using the trade map mode here. And then there it is. It's called Trade Costal Center of Trade. And what it does, it gives you more trade power within the region. See, the local sailor modifier. It adds local sailor modifier. Has more naval force limit, and you can develop your land more cheaply, minus 5% of local development costs. And that is another thing. To dominate the economy, you're gonna have to improve your land. And there are three aspects that basically contribute to your economy in here. So there is the administrative, the diplomatic, and the military. See it as it is suggested in here. You can spend your administrative power to actually increase the amount of tax that is generated by your area. So that is very, very important for your economy. You want to do that. You want to upgrade this one first, the administrative level of your land. And then what I usually do is that I upgrade the other one, this one, the diplomatic one, because by the diplomatic section of the island improves your locally produced goods, as well as add your trade value. See here, trade value, local goods produced, as well as decreasing the local shipbuilding time. So you can build a faster ships. In theory, you can build a better light ships, faster light ships, and you can spam it to your trade knots, which is over here. So that is the economic term of EU4. Doesn't sound so complicated, isn't it? Another thing that you can do within EU4 is called trade steering, which I am not gonna go in depth with that, because for newbie player mainly it's kind of complicated. Basically, trade steering is you adding more power to the trade knots by pushing from another trade knots which is connected to this particular trade knots that you're currently trading at. So for this instance, I'm just gonna show it here. See all these buttons, complicated buttons. It has a connection, right? And the Moluccan is, in this case, the Moluccas trade knots has a connection with the Philippine trade knots. So if I were to apply my trade power in the Philippine by using the trade steering here, see, trade steering transfer, it's called transfer trade power. By transferring trade power in the Philippine, it will push downstream towards the other trade knots that I'm currently trading in. So you want to do this if two of your trade knots are connected, so you can have a great power within the current trade knots that you're currently trading in. So in this case, right, I'm in the Moluccas, Palopo, the Luan Kingdom is trading in the Moluccas trade knots, and I added more power within the Moluccas trade knot by steering the trade power from the Philippines down to the Moluccas. You can always see the connection. See here, the Moluccas is connected to the Malaccas trade knots. So if, let's say, Pasay Kingdom that is located in here, see, it's Pasay. See, Pasay Kingdom uses their merchant to add trade power within the Moluccas. They're gonna gain a bigger trade power within the Malaccas trade knots. See, it's not that complicated. The economy is kind of simple, and the trade steering thing is something that you're gonna have to get used to. It is quite complicated for me at first, but then I begin to understand it. And the maximum merchant that you can get is 4 using national ID. Wait a minute, no, national ideas. What's that called? There it is. The ideas that you can lock somewhere in here. I forgot. I think it was the trade ideas. You're gonna have 3 there. And yeah, see, this is a merchant. And the other one, if you're using the expansion ideas. So it's very good if you want to build a strong economy that you're going to use these 2 ideas, trade and expansion ideas. But I'm not going to talk deeply about ideas. You can always find it. I'll probably talk about that in my other video. Another thing, in terms of, well, economy is done. Now we're going to talk about politics. Now, politics is very simple in this game. So let's say that I want to start a war with my rival. Okay, so first things first, if the rule is very simple, you have to see what kind of rival that you've got. And in here, my rival is Makassar. See here? Where is that? See, enemies. My enemies is Makassar and the Bhutan Kingdom. And the problem in here is that the Makassar kingdom is much more stronger than me. They've got a larger army, and definitely they've got a stronger economy because, you see, they control the trade coastal trade center. So it's gonna be problematic if I were to start an early war with them. I'm gonna get killed. So what you want to do if you're faced with a stronger enemy in your border at the early start of the game is that you don't want to list them as your rival just yet. You want to list, let's say, the other kingdom, Bhutan, because Bhutan is technically weaker than you. You can see it here. See, they've got yeah, strength is about the same, not weaker, I'm sorry. It's about the same, but Makassar has more 46% army than us and 6% larger navy than us, so that's a problem. You don't want to list them as your rival. You don't want to list Makassar as your rival. Why? Because when this opinion modifier gets to 200, the enemy will attack you. Especially if they think you're weaker than them, and I got this sort of thing happen and I got conquered. So don't do it. Don't list someone who is stronger than you as your rival. You want to find someone who is has an equal strength with you or slightly weaker than you to list them as your rival. And we're gonna go and do that. We're gonna list Bhutan here as our rival. And the reason why I want to do that, see, more likely to get alliance with our enemies. 25% prestige from defeating them in battles. No trade efficiency penalty when embargoing if you choose to list them as your rival. 25% spy network construction and 33% minus 33% cost for demanding province from them in peace deal. Yes. So that is very, very good trade to have. Very, very good thing to do, I'm sorry. And another thing is that when you list them as your rival, your light ships within the we're gonna send it first to the trade knot. Where is it? Protect trade. You must have light ship. Where the hell is the light ships? These guys are light ships. Protect the trade and then send it to the Moluccas. Yep. What was I gonna talk about? Right. In another thing, by having a rival here, you can embargo them economically. And this in turn, where is it? See? Issue embargo. See, this in turn, embargo reduces the trade power that they've got. So I'm gonna show it to you. Originally, where's Bhutan? Bhutan has 10.9% of the power, trade power within the Moluccas region, right? So we're gonna embargo them. Issue embargo, yes. I issued that embargo. And now they've got 9.9 because we embargoed them. So that is very, very useful thing to do. And bear in mind, again, you don't want to embargo someone who is a rival of yours who is stronger than you. You don't want to do that. Or someone who you can list as your rival and stronger than you. That is a problematic one. That is a problematic one. And the opinion modifier is just gonna get higher and higher and higher until 200, and then they're gonna attack you, and you're dead because you're weak. You're still weak. All right. So another thing, economy is done. Now we're gonna talk about the politics. Right? It's supposed to be politics. Damn it! I'm still talking about politics. So politics involve a lot of things. You can create an alliance, but the important things on everything. When you want to create a marriage or alliance is that you want to improve your relation first. So let's say not you, I don't want to be with you. We're going to ally ourselves with a bigger kingdom, Kutai. Yeah, no, look at that. Kutai attitudes. And this is another thing that you want to consider when you want to create an alliance. Their attitude towards you. So this type of attitude is a bit unacceptable. Kutai attitude towards Luwu, hostile. Kutai view Luwus with open hostility. Yeah, you don't want to do that. So my options is either to create an alliance with... Nope, they hate me as well. Brunei hates me as well. Probably Majapahit. No. Yeah, Sunda. So we're just gonna use Sunda as an example. So here's the catch. You want to improve your relation with them, and it will reach a certain. Where is that number? Here. You know, there's a value in here where it will go up to positive when you press the improve relation, and then at a certain amount, you can either offer an alliance first, or in order to appease them, usually what I would do is that I can arrange a royal marriage first, and this will improve their opinion about us more positively, and in turn you can ask for an alliance. And another devilish thing that I can do towards my enemy is by building a freaking spy network. So this is very, very important and very, very interesting. So there are two reasons why you want to build spy network. First is that you can use spy network to fabricate a claim, and it will need to reach a certain amount of number there, a certain amount of value. It's here, right here. See? Fabricate a claim, you need 20 points for that, and you're still at 0.0. It will go up. It tells you there. It will increase in size by this amount of point every month. The amount depends, like I forgot, if you're trading either in spice or coffee, I think it will it will have a bigger point every month. So, and another thing, that spying is done. Oh yeah, you can also, support the rebels. It requires 60, and steal their maps, but it requires a higher diplomatic technology, higher technology among all these options. After the steal maps option requires a higher technology, but it's very, very useful. The most important usefulness of this spying thing is that it will increase your easiness when you siege them. It's supposed to be mentioned here. Where is it? See? Our Makassar spy network is currently at 0.0%. This country is defended. Where is that? Effective efficiency of the siege. Yeah, can't really find it. But the more points of spy network that you've got actually increases the chance that you can siege your enemy faster. I forgot. It's supposed to mention it. Mention it here somewhere. Dang. Yeah. But really, spy network helps you to siege faster within your enemy area. All right. So politics is done. We're gonna talk about the military. Now, military is very, very simple, but in the very early or the beginning of the game, especially very, very early, you don't want to create a lot of cavalry unit. And the reason for that is there is this penalty. See here, you cannot have more than 50% cavalry compared to your infantry in a battle. So what I do is that usually I'll create one cavalry and I combine that with a lot of infantry. They're gonna be the bread and butter anyway. Your infantry is gonna be the bread and butter of your, army. And there is also another important thing in military. Where is that? Where is it? Here it is. So it says here, right? Combat width. Combat width is basically the amount of army that you can actually effectively and efficiently control. So let's say it says here 20, right? It means 20,000 men. So if you have more than that, let's say 25,000, then the rest of the 5,000 men will be placed in reserve and will not effectively join you in a battle. I'm not a big fan of that, so I usually create a stack of my army according to the combat width. So if the combat width is 20, I'll create an army consisting of 20,000 men. Alright. And it's very, very simple. And, you know, leaders also play a very important role in your army. So, let's say, yeah, for the sake of this video, I'm gonna sacrifice this little baby over here. You can recruit a general, or you can make your heir into a leader. Now, usually, I make my heir as a leader, heir or son as a leader, if he's got a terrible stats, you know, in here, like, this is, okay, this is a decent stat, basically, in my opinion. But if he's got like one diplomacy, one administrative, and one military skill, I'll send him into battle, and I hope that he's dead, so I can get a better replacement. Or you can recruit a general, which will cost you 50 military point. Quite expensive, actually not quite, very expensive. So you wanna be careful with this. And we're just gonna use that. Alright, so there is this thing here. 3 attribute. It plays an important role of, you know, of how good a commander is. So we're gonna use that. Right. So military done, politics done, economy done. What else? Yeah. The point. Where is it? Yep, there it is. Administrative, military, and diplomatic and military. These 3 are very, very important. You gotta be careful on managing them, because like military, not military, sorry. I think diplomacy or administrative actually increase the level of stability. And in this case, you don't have enough administrative point to boost stability. You need 100 and have 84 power, and you need 100 and only have 84 power available. See, it increased stability. Stability is important mainly because it improves your economy. See, again, economy. So this is the core. Oh shit, the core of the game is economy. And another thing is that your prestige. Now, prestige, you get prestige by defeating your enemy in battle, conquering them, subjugating them. But prestige will always decay no matter what you do. Legitimacy. Now, legitimacy is very, very important, because if you have a low legitimacy, see here, affects these things: national unrest, tolerance of the true faith, heretics, heathens, diplomatic reputation, income from vassals, and prestige basically gets lower, like if you get 70 or 60. And in order to increase the legitimacy, you're gonna have to, again, marry. Yes, marry. Maximum of 3 kingdom, usually maximum of 3 kingdom, I think, yeah, maximum of 3 kingdom. Or whatever the limit of marriage that you can have. It's gonna state there, like, yep, and it's gonna be set here. I can only have 4 diplomatic relations without a penalty. So I can have 4 marriage without any penalty at all. And this is very, very important. Having more marriage means you can have a stronger claim to the throne. Stronger claim to the throne means a higher legitimacy. And what else? Oh shit, yeah, I forgot. Regarding economy, you want to increase your mercantilism. Where is that boy? Yeah, there it is. So by increasing mercantilism, you'll gain more efficiency. See here? Provisional trade power. See? You can have a higher trade power. So in turn, you can dominate this trade knots over here. Alright, I think we're done with the Europa Universalis. Well, crash course anyway about Europa Universalis. Not a very complicated game. Quite simple. And trust me, it requires a lot of time of micromanagement, so you don't have to worry about it. My number 4 of the easiest Paradox game that I've played is, where is that boy? Stellaris. There it is. I'm gonna show you why. So Stellaris is a space theme 4K grand strategy game made by Paradox. It has one of the most beautiful, stunningly visual graphics here. Kind of like, I don't know, whenever I play this game, reminds me of Star Trek, Mass Effect, or Halo. So, yeah. Now we're gonna load the game first. Here's the thing. What I like about this game is that it got a right amount of tutorial for a new player. So Paradox really has improved their tutorial section for each of these games, of their new games, so it makes new player to play easier. And there are a lot of, race in here. Default race, unless you're using mods, which some people even increase, like System of Alliance or System of Alliance. I remember there was the Geth and the Alliance for Mass Effect. So there are mostly couple of, see here, 2 or 3 types of government. And the easiest one, first if you're new, is that you want to play as the indirect democracy. And the reason for this is that you'll be involved with a less war, so you'll get the feeling of the game as it progresses. But if you want to start as the hard man, then you can start as a military dictatorship. And the Commonwealth of Man provides just that. We're gonna start with United Nations of Earth. And we're gonna use a default section here. I'm not gonna change anything in there. So there are not a lot of actually, quite a simple aspect about these things. But basically, what you want to pay attention first is this, the energy credit and the mineral. And I would pay attention on a ratio of 3 to 1. So 3 being energy credit and 1 being mineral. And the reason for this is that mineral helps you to maintain your ships, as is suggested in there, ship maintenance. It also helps you to create a certain building. I forgot. Oh yeah, mining networks and mining station. So it helps you to create both. But you don't want to concentrate your effort on this one too much. That's why I said 3 to 1. You want to instead focus on energy credits. This is like your money. This is the currency of the game. And I would advise, again, of not using a cheat. The reason for that is that there is, where is that boy? Some sort of subtraction in there. Yep, there it is. Imagine this as your accounting report. See, you've got the income and you've got the expenses. So no matter how much you cheat. Alright, I forgot, what was the cheat? Cash? Yes, cash. Right. If your expenses is bigger than your income, it will always be minus. This one will turn into minus. So that's why I wouldn't advise of using cheat. You don't want to use cheat, and it's not fun. Like, fuck it, I'm just gonna cheat everything. That's not fun. And another thing is that, what else? Right. What else? Right, research. Not really complicated. You just have to figure this thing out by yourself. You can actually like experiment with these three. I grab the colony ship first, because basically you're at the early game, you're competing, you know, with other people in here to colonize the damn world. Think of it like Europa Universalis in the air, because in Europa Universalis you can also colonize people. And anyway, the control can be overwhelming at first, but it's very simple, so don't get too stressed on it. And less of micromanagement. Again, less micromanagement is required here. You probably gotta decide like what kind of factory that you're gonna have, what kind of edict, what kind of government. So like, see here, surface. You're gonna make a decision on these things, like what kind of building you want to make. Oh yeah, another thing that is also important is food. Food is also important. The more food you've got, the bigger population you've got. It increases population growth. So you want to have a lot of food as well. So that ratio change 3-1-1. Still, I would emphasize on electricity, on the energy credit. 3 being energy credit, 1 being mineral, and the other one being food. See, this one is very important. Micromanagement, maybe the amount of army that you're gonna have. See here, defense, assault, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Quite simple, really. Probably you're gonna get your head spinning when you have to design the ship, and this is where I'm totally freaked out, because it's so difficult. I watched a couple of YouTube video, and I did a couple of research on Reddit and Paradox's forum to create a good design on each of these ships, Corvette, and you can actually have more designs if you upgraded a certain technology. So you can have destroyer ships, you can design a destroyer, and battle cruiser, stuff like that, if you updated your technology. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Actually, not very complicated. It's quite simple. And the reason why I put it a bit harder than EU4 is because of the ship fucking design. And believe me, once you get used to it, once you get into the interface of this thing, it's bloody annoying. You gotta be careful with the calculation. Oh yeah, I don't want to make the ship too slow or too expensive. I don't have the money. Things like that. And kind of just frustrates you. And we're actually pretty much done. Oh yeah, you also want to send your military ship. Where is that? Yeah, military fleet. Like sort of like adventuring around the space. This is in order for 2 things. First, you're gonna have to find friends, right? And second, you're gonna have to detect where are the hostile environments are. Like maybe in here, or like which part of these galaxies does the fallen empire or the hostile empire located at. So we're gonna, yeah, that's pretty much it. Not very complicated. The battle is also the the ship battle. Also not very complicated. It requires a good planning and a good amount of ships. And you can tell by the way I'm saying this, I'm not very good with the military. Oh, that's the economy. I've talked about the military and the politics. So the politics, as per se, isn't that complicated. We're gonna use cheat. What is the cheat? I forgot what is the cheat. Is that... Never mind. So, not very much on the politics. This is why I'm a bit disappointed with Stellaris, is that you can only have a couple of things, if I recall. There is a trade deal. You can create a trade deal with your enemy, or not enemy, any empire that you came across. You can share your technology with them if you are technologically more superior than them, or you can ask for them to be your protectorate, or you're being the protectorate for them. Just that sort of thing. Not very interesting in the diplomacy. The cool thing in here is probably the space battle, so you want to watch out for that. And we're done. So that is Stellaris. Not a very complicated game. And we're gonna move on to guess what? The soundtrack of my video. Hearts of Iron game. Specifically Hearts of Iron 4. Now, I played a bit of Hearts of Iron 3. A bit. Until it crashes like, I don't know, the 100 times that I've loaded the damn game. Sometimes it's on the start screen, sometimes it's on the when I was looking for, when I want to choose a country, or when I'm managing, I want to move my army in the first section. Like when you just started the game and it crashes again and again. It's just so fucking annoying. Call it buttons. Yeah. So Hearts of Iron places you as the general of World War II. On World War II. Kind of, makes you feel like Hitler or Winston Churchill, or whatever country you want to choose. Bear in mind that countries who are, at the time, it was between 1936 to 1945, who still technically being dominated by other countries, such as my country, Indonesia, will not appear on the main game, but you can play them as a release nation. But if you play as a release nation, then you won't be able to get the Iron Man achievement. So I'm gonna give you an example. So there are two scenarios that you can choose. The Gathering of the Storm, 1936. So this is basically during the time when Hitler kind of being the aggressor, and this is during the very hot time after Hitler annexed. I think Hitler not annexed. Yeah, after the militarization of the Rhineland. I've learned a lot of history from this game. Seriously, better than better than my book. So, we're gonna choose the 1936 first, and there are 1, 2, 4, 7 major leader that you can choose, major countries, but you can choose another countries as well. So, what I would recommend if you're very new to this game is you want to play as Italy. Italy because it's in the tutorial. Yes, Paradox has a tutorial for this game. Whoa, my god. Thank you, Paradox. Or, if you really want to learn the basic, you can play with... which one is the hardest? I would say a country that nears the Soviet section here. Soviet Union. So either Xinjiang, Tanutuva, Mongolia, Manchukuo, Shanxi, basically the country that near Soviet and China. And the reason for that is because at the start of the game, after a couple of months, I think 5 or 6 months, the Japanese will declare war against China. And they won't just invade China. They're gonna conquer everything in here. And you're dead if you're not good at it. And usually the Soviet Union will annex these countries, so it will be quite fun to play. There's another country as well. That's, yeah, there it is, Bhutan. Now this is what I would call as one of the hardest nation that you're gonna, that you, if you, if you can play it and then you successful with it, you're very good. Bhutan, and there's another. Where are you? Uh, where is it? Very quite small in the African part as well. Liberia. Yes, Liberia. Now, formerly known as the satellite states of United States of America, Liberia is placed between the two power of the France and United Kingdom. The only advantages they've got is coastal area, so they can in turn trade a lot of resources, but that's all, pretty much it. If you're not careful, you're gonna get annexed by either of these two states. That's my other hard nation. Whoa, and the other one would be this boy baby, El Salvador. Again, El Salvador is placed between powers. Mexico will probably swoop in to destroy Guatemala and El Salvador and conquer Honduras, because these are smaller nations and Mexico is very big. So if you wanna have a real challenge, quite a challenge, I would recommend Honduras as well. Moving on, we talk about the China, Soviet, and India section here, which include Bhutan. We talk about the African section of this world and the American section. So we're gonna talk about the Europe section, like the hard nation that I've played with so far. Anything that is currently at war with the German Reich. So I would say Poland. Yeah, Poland is very, very hard because of the, what do they call that pact? I'm just gonna call Germany and Soviet Union pact. So basically the Soviet and the German is gonna fuck you both in the ass and from the front, and you're dead. And usually they won't invade you directly. They're gonna invade, these lowland countries, first Czechoslovakia, Austria, Hungary. And there is an event for both of Austria and Czechoslovakia. I forgot, Austria was the Anschluss. Is that the way you spell it? Is it the way you say it? I don't know. And there's also an event for Czechoslovakia where basically they abdicate, or they surrender, and the Germans gonna gain control of these areas, and they usually gain control of this one as well. And Romania is most likely fall as well. And what I found is that they're usually being turned into what would the game called it as Legionnaire Romania. And then they're gonna screw you up. The Germans are gonna screw Poland up, as well as the Soviet is going to attack you. So Poland is definitely one of the hardest nation that I've played. I mean, I get conquered, literally got mowed down, because by the time I realized that I should have attacked Czechoslovakia first to secure my flank, and Lithuania to prevent the German from actually attacking either of these countries, I was a little too late. I was focused on building my military power within the border that I forgot. Oh yeah, shit. I had a more, my troops is bigger than both Lithuania and Czechoslovakia. I should have annexed them first, but I didn't do that, and that was a mistake. Another nation that is quite hard to play in Europe is Finland. Now, Finland is because you're being placed against the mighty Soviet Union. And the reason for that is very simple. Soviet Union has a larger army. They've got, if you look at this, holy motherfucker, Soviet Union is so fucking big. And Finland is quite small compared to Soviet Union. And historically, the Finnish army was defeated, wasn't it? If I recall, what did they call it? Winter War, Phony War, Winter War. I'm pretty sure it was Winter War. They got defeated. They surrendered, I think, and it's very very hard. If you're not careful, you're gonna get annexed by them. Oh yeah, that's pretty much it. Choices about country, and for all intent and purposes, I think I'm gonna start as let's start as the little baby Poland to show you just how screwed up the situation is. Alright, and we're gonna use a little cheat so I can show you what is going on this particular world. Yep. See here, they've got 2436 division bearing down upon you. I'm sorry. Here's the catch. Now, the most important thing again in the grand strategy game is resources management. So you want to trade with a nation, other nation who has the resources that you need. And this is my criticism about the trading section of Hearts of Iron 4. I mean, in not Victoria, my apologies. In Europe Universalis, like, there is a currency called money. That's right, money. And the trade in here, it feels like we're going back in time, because basically what you're doing is that in trade, you're just, what you call that, exchanging resources. Oh, look, United Kingdom has, or let's say United States has oil. Yeah, I'm gonna take these things from them. There's no money involved, just the light ships, the convoy ships. And this is why it's very very important for you to actually construct the light ships. Oops, sorry, not the light ships, convoy ships. Europa Universalis, damn it. So you want to focus on creating that convoy. And as Poland in the early game, I wouldn't advise on creating a lot of navy. And the reason for that is because you're not gonna need it that much. But if you're worried that the Germans might sabotage your supply lines, then you definitely want to create that. Where is that? Yeah, that destroyer or submarine class ships. And the reason for this is that if you dominate the sea area in here, your supply lines is secure. You want to focus first on creating a lot of division and place them between your Soviet Union border and your German Reich border. Right. So, what is there yet? Important things. And that is the economy and politics. Right. Politics. The economy. I've done talking about the economy. Basically, it's like just simple trading. No money involved. So for the politics, there are two major factions, the Axis and the Allies, and sometimes, as well as the Comintern, three factions. Sometimes the Chinese will actually create a faction, United Front, I think, but I rarely join them. Sometimes I can't, and I rarely join them, because the Chinese is focusing on their own war against the Japanese, and I don't want to get dragged into that war. But if you're playing a nation somewhere between this between these region, you might want to join against you might want to join with Chinese in the United Front. United Front, I think. Yeah, United Front. to defeat the Imperial Japanese. And where is it? All right. So we talk about economy, we talk about politics, and we're gonna move on to the main event of this game, the war. Now, the war is gonna be a bit more complicated than any of the Paradox game that you've ever played, mainly because it has quite a detail in it. Like, let's say I'm gonna combine these army first. All right, there, 1, 2. I'm gonna create a division. I'm gonna assign a general. Assign a general there. Create a new division. And not a general, just no general. Alright, Polish theater. And the reason for that is these buttons, which I'm gonna explain it quite a bit, I think. Now the first thing that you want to do whenever you're facing against an enemy within your border is to create a frontal line. Now a frontal line, oh, they already create one, did they? Yep. Now the reason for this creation is that kind of gives your army like an order. Oh, you know what? You move down there. And then the second thing that you want to do with that is, yeah, front line. That is on the defensive part of it. Or you can also draw. Oh, I'm very sorry about that. The fallback line in here. Let's say you want to retreat your army to the back. Here, see? You can draw it like that. And then your entire division will move there and will defend that position. A bit complicated. Or if you want to attack, after, we're gonna delete that one first. See, if you want to attack, after you draw the front line here, you want to use the offensive line. Now the offensive line, you can create the offensive line, right click it, and then you can create, see, right click and hold it so you can draw the offensive line. And then your army will move steadily to these areas and press on. Or we're gonna cancel. I'm gonna show you a bigger one. So let's say I'm gonna make an advance to Berlin. So we're gonna use this. Capture Berlin in planning, and you can hover it so you can see your division progress. That's how your army will move those red and green green color changes. See? That's how your army is gonna move. A bit complicated, I know. And another complicated part of this game is, I'm gonna delete that order first. I'm gonna delete it. Yeah. Okay. Is the naval invasion. Alright. So the naval invasion, you're gonna have to click this, and then you're gonna have to click the port. Let's say here. It will turn into this color. I don't know what this color is. Blue? Dark blue? I'm not sure. And then you're gonna have to click on your enemy's port. So let's say I'm gonna invade Germany by sea. So here. And it will says here, it's not ready. It will prepare. It yeah, it will be like couple of times, require sometimes to do that. And if you want to invade by the sea, you're gonna have to maintain, like I said earlier, regarding supply, not air superiority. I'm sorry, sea superiority. So you assign your fleet, and then you use the patrol this area over here. Do they have a navy? All right, they've got it here. And then you want to assign into patrol, and then you're gonna click this area, and then they're gonna like, your ship is basically gonna spin around these green area, and they will destroy or attack any enemy ships within range, especially if you use the fire at will. Yes, fire at will instruction. Not so complicated, a bit hard, especially the button to get grasp at, but not so difficult. Yeah, that. Oh, yeah, shit, I forgot as well. The production economy again. See, it's very, very important for you to balance between the military factories and what this game referred to as civilian. So military factories helps you to create your military military equipment like this one, infantry, artillery, tanks, and planes, while the civilian factories helps you to create more resources. It also helps you to trade between nations. So you want to do that. You want to increase both, and I usually increase both until like they've got, well, it depends, like 15 military factories and 15 civilian factories. Oh, there's also naval dockyards. Now, naval dockyards is used for the creation of your, you guessed it, naval, yeah, ships unit. So the more you've got, the faster it is for you to create your ships. Like I said, if you're playing Poland, you don't want to create a lot of ships first. You want to focus on defending against the Germans first. So you want to capture as many land as you can. You want to destroy this little baby, this three little baby here, so you can secure your border or your flank, especially Lithuania and Czechoslovakia. Oh shit, I'm sorry about that. To secure it from the Germans, you might want to invade all these low countries in here, the Latvia and Estonia. More land grabs, the better, right? So you want to do that. But yeah, just a couple of tips for that. Not so complicated. A bit, probably, especially the army management is a bit complicated. But that's it, actually. Hearts of Iron 4. I ranked it as my number 3. The hardest game that I've played were number 3. Not counting the other Paradox title. Alright, so we're pretty much done with Hearts of Iron. Okay. Now we're moving on to my number 2 pick for the hardest Paradox game that I've played so far. And I'm actually a bit torn. You know, it's actually, I'm gonna tell you, it's between Victoria 2 and Crusader Kings. And I have decided to give Crusader Kings my number 2 most complicated game that I've ever played. So there's gonna be ranked second as the hardest game that I played. I'm gonna show you why. Yeah, we're gonna load that thing down. Come on, baby. Load it down. Load, please. Basically, come on. We're just gonna use my autosave. So basically, in the you know, in this game, a very important aspect for this game is not your warfare, not your economy. Economy, yeah, sure, plays an important part, but it's very easy. There are two types of government that will helps you to determine what kind of economy you're gonna get: feudal and republic. With the republicans, you can create a lot of trade posts and you can generate money from it. But be careful, cause the the Vikings are gonna come and raid the shit out of you if you're playing as republic mostly. But as feudal, you can create money by, fortunately actually, by uh, collecting taxes. And this can be encouraged by upgrading your your buildings. So you want to do that. You want to upgrade your buildings to increase the amount of taxes that you're gonna get. And land grabs. Now I'm gonna talk about the land grabs and why is that it's so fucking annoying to play this game. Is the fucking land grabs. Cause it's very hard for you to actually gain a claim. That's right. To gain a freaking claim for this, for for conquest. Salade. Where is it? Declare war. Now I got the claim of the jour, but I'm gonna give you an example of country that I don't have claim on. Maybe this guy. I have a de jure claim because I'm already kingdom. Let's see this one. Can declare war. I'm gonna have to fabricate a working claim, and then I can do that by sending my ambassador chancellor here. And here's the frustrating part of this game. Yep, I admit it, I cheated. I increases the what you call that as the attributes of these guys, mainly because I'm frustrated. I want to have a faster increase of fabricate claim, which unfortunately I didn't. So if you've got like 20 of diplomacy, 20 diplomacy attributes, you're gonna gain around 19% of claim fabrication. See, 19% yearly. It requires you to have 100% in order to gain fabrication for land grab conquest. So 19% divided by 100 divided by 19%. That is roughly around, I'm gonna count it first. Let's see. 100 divided by 19. 100 divided by 19. Around 5 or 6 years. 5 to 6 years just to conquer one freaking kingdom. So land grab conquest is not something that I would recommend if you're playing Crusader King, and instead you want to focus on what I would call as the dynastic conquest. Dynastic conquest is very simple. Basically, you're just gonna have to marry or have a lot of lover from all around these kingdoms. We're gonna use cheat first. Yep, Fog of War cheat. So you're gonna marry or have a lot of concubine from the royal family from here. So you're gonna have a lot of blood that you're gonna have a lot of sons that is actually eligible to become the king within these counties. You're gonna have your dynastic conquest then. But if you wanna do the land conquest, be my guest, it's gonna take a lot of years. Don't expect it to be done in 6 months or in a year to fabricate a claim. It's gonna take around 5 to 6 years. So there is your victory. There is your conquest using Crusader King, and this is why the reason why I hate it. Takes a lot of time. Oh, added to that, you have to manage your goddamn land. Yes, land. The land that you conquer. The land that you conquer. You cannot control everything. So you're gonna you actually you have a limitation of, I think, 60, not 61. Yeah, demesne. See, 26. That's like the biggest demesne that you can have. If you have more than that, then your vassal is gonna get mad at you, and possibly they're gonna rebel against you. If you got vassals. Now, vassals is including churches, and this is what you wanna do. I usually put my sons or my family in charge of all these, of all these, city and all that, whatnot, and the churches, and I limit the so-called outsider influence within my kingdoms. But it will be very, very hard, especially if you don't have a lot of sons. In my case, I've got daughters. It's not that I'm not a fan of it. It's just so fucking sad, because that means I won't be eligible to, dynasty conquest. And here's, not dynasty conquest, sorry, for Trump. And here's the catch. See, some of them are mad. Oh, angry for not being on council. Never mind. But the thing is, this is why Crusader King is so fucking complicated. The political map of this game is huge. Economy-wise, very simple. Military-wise, very simple. You don't even have to manage the amount of army that you've got, except for retainers. You're gonna have to manage that in here. Sorry, in here. Yes, not retainers, retinue. You can choose what kind of retinue that you've got, and even it kind of like gives you a package. You cannot decide, oh, I want to have one division of heavy infantry. No, you cannot do that. The game really doesn't emphasize on military. It really kind of want to force you to understand the relationship between kingdoms and exploit that for your advantages or for your own gain. And that is it. That's pretty much Crusader Kings 2. Now we're gonna move on to probably the hardest game from the so-called streamlined version of Paradox game, and that is Victoria 2. Victoria 2 is a kind of continuation, I suppose to say that. Continuation. Oops. Sorry about that music. Continuation of the Europa Universalis year. So this game happens on the period after Europa Universalis occurred. I think, is there any converter? No, the converter is for Crusader Kings to Crusader Kings to, what is that, Europa Universalis. Not the other way around, but I think I have found some modders who are able to convert Europa Universalis save to Victoria 2. So here's the catch. You're gonna control one of these nations here and lead them to glory. Maybe I'm gonna show you a little bit. Not my save. Just we're gonna start a new game using Bali. We're gonna use the Fog of War cheat, so you can get the overview point, of point of this area over here. Not that. Yep, there it is. So here's the catch. So within Victoria 2, I'm sorry, not EU, Victoria 2, there's one aspect that is very important, and that is economy. No, sorry, two aspects: economy and population. Now, economy, you cannot do. Economy, you gotta be careful. There's no trade dots. There's no nothing. It's basically based on a real life trade. And at the early start of the game, if you're playing as the uncivilized nation, such as in this case Bali, Bali is termed as an uncivilized nation. See, you want to be careful with that because usually it will just sell to the market the natural resources that they've got, timber and fish. And you can upgrade that by creating factories later, of course, if you have industrialized. But you don't want to do that at the early game. Industrializing too early will only cost more money for you. And population, where is it? Yes, population. So at the very start of the game, as always, you want to encourage clergy. Now clergy is very, very important. Any Victorian 2 player will tell you that clergyman is important because it increases the amount of research here. Where is the research? Yes, not this one, sorry. No, not here. Yeah. See, the research points here that you need for your westernization. So you wanna grab that clergyman early, as well as level of literacy. See, is Bali in this case very poor. They've got like a starting point of 1% of literacy. So it's very, very hard for them, for me especially, to actually improve this. It's gonna take a while. And you want to be very, very careful with the population management. Seriously, again, population management is very, very important. And I'll tell you the gist of it if I still remember. Kind of abandoned this game because of the complexity. And oh yeah, side notes. If you're an accountant or an economist, I would recommend you to play this game because this is a very, very resourceful based management game. Clergyman, 4%. 4% of clergyman if you're in a civilized nation and if you got a very low level of, literacy. And then I would encourage bureaucrats. This little baby over here, bureaucrats. So why bureaucrats? Because it increases the level of efficiency that you've got. After that is done, I want to encourage the level of capitalist. There it is. Now, this is assuming that I have become a civilized nation. But if I haven't, by the time I have finished encouraging both clergymen and bureaucrats. And bureaucrats, by the way, you don't have the percentage. It will tell you, like, if you click it over here. I'm gonna show it to you to make it more easier. Bureaucrats. It will show you, like, state administrative efficiency at 25%. It will increase over time. Increase until 100%, and then boom, you're done. You want to move on to another capitalist. Usually I have 0.2 capitalist if I have become a civilized nation for each state. All right, each freaking state. Where is it? The stage region. Yes, that's right. Each of these are being divided by regions. So let's say in Java, this is the Java. I'm gonna use the Indonesian archipelago in this case. So there's the Dutch Java, this is Java. This is the Lesser Sunda Island. This is the Sumatra, and this is the Aceh region. So you wanna encourage like 4% of clergymen in each of these island or each of region, I should say, and then 100% of bureaucrats in each of these area, as well as 0.2% of bureaucrats in each of these area. And then clerks. Clerks, I usually have it around 2% of clerks. And the reason for clerks is that because clerks Where is that? Boy. Clerks. Yeah. Clerks increases the amount of production that your factory can produce. Basically gives your factory a competitive advantages against your competitors. More resources that you produce means that you can send more resources towards the market, meaning more people will buy it, meaning more profit. That's it. But sometimes I find the difficulty to increase clerks. It's very very slow. So if I wanna, kind of like you know what? I don't care about the clerks. I just want a war. So you wanna encourage soldier, and soldier is kind of difficult in here as well. So there are this thing called brigades. Here in this case, I hover my mouse over there. It says I have three out of the possible 4 brigades that our soldiers can support. What it says in there, basically, I can create 1 more brigades, and it's very very important as well. 1 brigades, you have to remember this. Yes, you have to memorize this. Consists of 3,000 men. So when you encourage your soldier, I'm gonna show it to you guys again. Where is it? Encourage soldier. See in here, it says 3%. Ignore the percentage and see how many men has become a soldier. In here, it's only 6.30k. Not so much. You want to make that until like 3,000. It's very very small. So you want to encourage that. So basically, like 1 brigade is 3,000. 6,000 people who become a soldier means you have 2 additional brigade. And probably I'm gonna talk a bit about this archipelago over here and what makes this archipelago so freaking hard and so interesting. It's because it's very simple. You're being surrounded, whatever kingdom you choose here. You're being surrounded by the Dutch, the mighty Dutch, the British, yes, the British, as well as the Spanish, and sometimes though the industrialized Japan will actually come down here and attack you. So you have 3 major uncivilized nations in here: Bali, the Bruneian people, Johor Kingdom, see, and the Aceh. Of all these 4 kingdoms of uncivilized nation, I would say Brunei is the weakest one. But wait a minute, Reza. Brunei has like the largest area that they controlled compared to Bali. Why do you say that they are the weakest? Well, they are the weakest in this nation. And no offense to any Bruneian people who's currently watching this, but your island can only support it 3,000 men, meaning 1 freaking brigade, and you cannot attack, or I don't know, you cannot increase it. Even if you increases the amount of soldier that you can create, you cannot create more brigades. I think there's a certain limitation on each island on how many brigades that you can create. It can be removed by adding more soldier population, but in Brunei's case, no, you can't. So on most cases, whenever I play as either Bali, in here Bali, Aceh, or Johor, I would always, almost at the start of the beginning of the game, will declare war against them because they've got a decent resources here. Infrastructure, there it is. They've got a decent resources. They've got coffee, timber, and timber. I think at the later game it will turn into oil, so it's kind of important as well to capture this first whenever you're playing as Bali, Aceh, or Johor. And I have no idea what you're gonna do if you're playing as Brunei. I mean, I did, and then I got annexed by the Dutch. Cause I cannot attack Johor, I cannot attack Aceh, and I cannot attack Bali. They just got a very small army. So frustrating. Yeah, another thing, when When you're declaring war, you want to be careful with this infamy, because, like, if you're playing with an archipelago in any way, if you pissed off if you got high, not pissed off, if you got a high level of infamy, usually the Dutch will move in on you and will declare a war justification, cut down to sizes. Now, cut down to sizes is very, very problematic. See here. Manufacturer for declaring war, cut down to size. Now, cut down to size is basically casus belli, where, you know, your aggressor will destroy your entire army, and a treaty will be established. This treaty contains an agreement that, one, you cannot create any army in the next 5 years, and that you're gonna have to pay a certain amount of war reparation towards the aggressor. So that is very, very problematic. So you want to take care of your infamy. Be careful with that. Don't grow too big, like 5 or 6, because if you're playing within this region over here, the Indonesian archipelago, because the Dutch is coming for you. So you're gonna have to be very, very careful with that. What else? Trade, diplomacy. Ah, yes, diplomacy. Diplomacy. I talk a lot about economy, didn't I? Diplomacy. You want to be careful, you know, with diplomacy, because with diplomacy, like if I'm playing within these region, I want to improve relation again. Improve relation is very, very important. See, increase relation with the Dutch. In this case, I can't, because it requires more diplomatic points, which will increase over time. You can see the diplomatic points is here. Wait, here. There it is. It will increase over time. If you turn into a civilized nation, in this case, it will increase over time. So you want to be careful with that. And you want to be on the good side of each of these nations here, like the Dutch in this case, and England, as well as the Spanish, mainly because if they like you, they won't declare war on you. And if you're lucky, you can ask them, if you're still the uncivilized one, to become your protectorate, and they'll place you under their sphere of influence. So that's good, very good. Military done. No, wait a minute. Diplomatic done. Economy done. We're gonna talk about the military section of this game. Again, not very, very complicated. The war itself is quite self-explanatory, kind of like Europa Universalis when it comes to warfare, so not very complicated. The only complicated things of this game is the population management. You gotta be careful with that, and the economy. You're gonna have to be very, very careful with that. That's it. That's all. That is all, actually, about Victoria 2, and the reason why it is so freaking complicated. So, which game that I would recommend if you want to play it first, if you're new to this type of genre? Definitely Europa Universalis. It gives you an overview, you know, of what is a grand strategy game is all about. So yeah, that is all, actually, and I'm pretty much done. You can leave your comment down below, and if there is anything that you want me to change on the way I explain things, or if you want to have a suggestion, like, can you talk about this stuff, or can you talk about that stuff, leave your comment down below and I'll stick to it. Alright, that is all, guys. Thank you.